Elon Musk is in trouble again over a couple of tweets he sent out last week. When I saw those tweets, I personally thought that the trouble were coming. As a matter of fact, I even made a video, and this is the thumbnail. You can see it on my channel right now. But a lot of you said, Alex, so you're overreacting. They're innocent tweets. Nothing's going to happen. But guess what? Something did happen today. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, filed an official complaint with the judge asking the judge to hold Elon Musk in contempt. That's kind of a big deal. But as you probably seen, there are some articles circulating and maybe some videos circulating in the last 12 hours since this news came out. But it looks like no one who was writing those articles actually read the paperwork that came with it. I, being the nerd that I am, I actually took a couple of hours and read through the entire paperwork, cross-referenced it with some documents, and there's a whole entire picture that kind of came up, what actually happened between those two tweets, because there were a few hours in between. Now that I've done all of this and put it all in slides, let me tell you all about it right now. Taking over the world, electrifying the world, E4 Electric! Welcome to E4 Electric, your #1 source of unbiased electric car news. If this is your first time here, go ahead and click on the subscribe button so you don't miss anything moving forward. All right, so first of all, refresher course, SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission of the United States, had a bit of a problem with Elon back in the summer when he sent out now really famous tweet saying that he's taking Tesla private at $420. He thought it was kind of funny because he just learned that apparently that stands for marijuana smoking. Well, they did not find it funny. As a matter of fact, they ended up telling him, hey, listen, we're gonna go after you, but let's settle. Elon said, hell no. They said, okay, we're gonna go to court, and they filed the complaint and the lawsuit in the court where they were seeking punishment that was much tougher than they were originally offering, and so Elon Musk ended up settling within like 24 hours. The punishment was a little bit harsher that originally was offered to him, but he ended up having to step down as the chair. They had to get another chair and two members that were independent directors. But most importantly, I thought the best thing that came out of it, he was supposed to be censored. Tesla was supposed to kind of create a committee, if you will, on every time he tweets something that can move the stock up and down, it has to clear that committee. Now, so they agreed, and a couple of months ago, he gave an interview to, 60 Minutes. And in that interview, he basically did not sound like he was taking it seriously. As a matter of fact, he said he had no respect for SEC, and it just all sounded kind of, So, and now we come to present time. So last week, he sent out this tweet, and this one, he basically says Tesla made 0 cars in 2011, but will make around 500,000 in 2019. It was actually after closing hours, and most people thought that was all right. That's a decent projection. But then, 4 hours later, as you can see at 8:41 p.m., he said, whoa, meant to say annualized production rate at the end of 2019, probably around 500,000, i.e. 10K cars per week. Deliveries for years still estimated to be around 400K. Now, when I saw that, I was like, did somebody get a hold of him over there? Some lawyer said, hey, Elon, you better kind of backpedal. And so then I made my video, and all of you guys said, Alex, forget it. And now we come to the present day, and this is what happened. SEC filed, to request to hold him in contempt. Now, let's go through that document and what it actually says. Before that, let me give you a quick reminder that this video and this channel is sponsored by Evanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla. There's a discount code in the description of this video. Go ahead and grab it and save yourselves a few bucks. I have a few on my own, and I enjoy them every day. Okay, so let's get to the document. So the first problem, so, those two tweets you understand, right? So he said 500,000 cars per year. And then he said, well, at the rate of, at the end of the year. So I've seen a lot of people in press saying, well, it kind of goes along with what originally was kind of communicated during the conference call and in the document for the Q4 update. Well, actually, this is not exactly why SEC got kind of bent out of shape. So let me put it full screen. Apparently, in the policy that Tesla created for Elon, as far as what to review, well, as you can see, it says here that if there is something that was already pre-approved, a pre-approved communication, if Elon was to, talk about it again, whether with some edits or just because, I guess, he kind of has to, clear it again. So because obviously I believe it was like January 30th when original Q4 earnings call happened. It was more than 2 days, and therefore, even if Elon was saying something that already was said during that call or in that document, he had to clear it with his counselor, with a committee, whatever you want to call it, which he kind of didn't, obviously. And how do we know that, right? Well, let's go on further with the document. By the way, that 60-minute interview definitely came back to haunt him because, not that we're surprised, as part of the document, part of the claim, they said, listen, he went on television and he was asked, the host asked, how do they know if it's going to move the market if they're not reading all of them before you send them? And Elon said, well, I guess we might make some mistakes. Who knows, right? So actually, SEC basically saying, listen, when he said that, obviously he wasn't taking it seriously. So the intent was there. And by the way, even though that part that when he later said that he has no respect for SEC kind of has no merits on this case, probably the way they put this insert in the document is where they've highlighted the part that I just showed you, right? But if you look here, it's still there as the bold text that's really relevant. And as you can see there, they still kept that portion where he said, I want to be clear, I do not respect the SEC. I do not respect them. So if you guys don't think they weren't going to hold a grudge on that, you're wrong. This is a little bit of a reminder, I guess, from them, very kind of nonchalant, that we remembered what you said. So I thought it was interesting. All right, let's move forward. And so what was said, and the SEC is basically saying, okay, well, here's what the document, the update of Q4 that was published on January 13th said. As you can see, they're talking about the production and how many vehicles they're going to be. Now, at the end, it says we're targeting annualized Model 3 output in excess of 500,000 units sometime between Q4 of 2019 and Q2 of 2020. As you can see, this doesn't really say that they're going to make 500,000 cars this year. It's just talking about Model 3, talking about at the rate, and really talking about possibly the next year. So the SEC saying, listen, there's no way saying that you were going to make 500,000 cars a year this year. And then here's another one. And it also says we do feel quite comfortable, blah, 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 blah. And, it still doesn't give a altogether estimate on how many cars they're going to be making this year, rather than talking about the rates. And a lot of times it was about Model 3 or specifically the Shanghai factory. So SEC saying, listen, we don't see anything where he said where 500,000 cars were going to be made. Now, somebody pointed out to me earlier, and I looked this up. Indeed, during the actual call, Elon did say, yes, maybe in the order of 350,000 to 500,000 Model 3 sometime, something like that this year. So something like that, maybe. None of the statements SEC are saying were in any way confident this is what we're going to build, unlike the tweet he sent out saying we will make around that number. So that was much more concrete. So they're saying, listen, in the first place, there was nothing about it at 500,000 cars a year. But even that, if you wanted to retire, kind of state it again, you still had to get the approval of your committee. Now, here's where we're really, and I think this is the part that is kind of mind-blowing, because this is what a lot of people don't know. Many reporters who are writing about the story are not telling you this, but this is what happened. So SEC sent a letter to Tesla saying, hey, well, those tweets sound kind of weird. Did he check in with your committee there with the first tweet? And they had to write back and saying, no, he did not. As a matter of fact, we kind of had to find him our lawyers had to find him something. I said jokingly that day, and then they had to sit down and say, Elon, you have to, issue an update to this, and that's how they came up with the second tweet. And it's like right here, it says right there that they really had to find him and kind of sit him down and tell him this. But they're also claiming that she says at the end, thus again restating the contents of the January 30th, 2019 fourth quarter and full year 2018 update, which SEC is saying, hey, that's great, but it was more than 2 days since then, and it's your own rules that say that Elon had to go and seek the approval from the committee. So that is what really happened, as you can see, between those two tweets. Now let's break all of this down, because this is a lot to sort of unravel. But let's break this down into positives and negatives. All right, so obviously there are some positives, because I originally liked the settlement because I thought that Elon kind of did not maybe realize that he's a CEO of a publicly traded company. He does need to behave himself within certain reasonable sort of frame of rules which everybody else acts within, and I don't think he was understanding that. He kind of had to play by the same rules, and this agreement kind of reminded him that he had to do that. So the fact that hopefully once again he will, and he kind of behaved since then. Remember, there wasn't that many things that he did that sort of turned heads, and now so whatever comes out of this, and I hope he doesn't get punished too harshly that will damage the brand or the financials or the stock too much. But hopefully this is like one more smack in the face saying, listen, dude, don't do. I'm gonna just say it's stupid. Don't do stupid stuff, and not just tweeting about going to public or common cars and all of that stuff that you don't know. But also, don't say stupid stuff like, when you depend on SEC's sort of supervision and go on public television and kind of, diss them, for the lack of the better word. They're going to come back to haunt. And as you can see in that little document, they definitely made sure that they remembered that. So I hope that this is what's going to come out of it. He will hopefully say, okay, all right, there's no joking around. I'm going to settle down. I'm going to actually play by the rules like every other CEO. It's not that the rules were made for me. And I hope, because that kind of a behavior, that's the kind of behavior that investors want to see. Maybe not you guys who are huge Tesla fans, in some parts of the world, of course, and they want him to be daring and everything. But, the investors, people who are actually putting money into this, they want the CEO to, behave. All right. So what are the negatives? Well, obviously, to me, it's where, the electric car movement doesn't really need any negative publicity, right? But every time Elon does something like this and it ends up in the news, it's a reflection not just on him, not just on Tesla, but on all of us as people who believe in him and believe in this electric car revolution. So it's just bad publicity, for the lack of the better word. Obviously, this might set the stock back. I didn't want to even, I know it's going to be up and down, but stuff like that does, get basically, because people who are serious investors, when the CEO does stuff that's untraditional or unstandard or illegal, and dismisses, such organizations as Securities and Exchange Commission that's designed to protect them, the investors, not everybody is willing to invest or risk or kind of go along with it. So this obviously damages the financial situation of the company. And of course, this raises more and more questions about, is this guy, what is he doing? He's a smart guy. Why is he acting so irrational, insane? He himself said he was under a lot of stress and Ambien and all of that stuff. But listen, people put a lot of trust in him, including myself, and I'd like to know that he's not going insane and crazy. And also, I would say, if another thing I would mention is that it just doesn't seem like people around him either are also fully sane, or if they are, they have no control over him. I mean, obviously he has a lot of his family, his brother and his mother, and quite a few other friends and family around him all the time. And I wonder, are all of them are blind to this behavior? Does anybody has anybody ever done intervention where I said, Elon, you got to come down, or you're going to get a lot of trouble, or this company is going to get in trouble. We're still, trying to, turn some profits. It's kind of hard to do when we have to deal with all of this. So I just question the people around him. Are they encouraging him, or are they turning the other way? Because this is where you need your friends and family to sit you down and say, hey, you need to stop. And that's where we're at. So obviously, I will keep you guys updated on what's going to be happening with this. But I'm looking forward to hearing from you. What do you guys think? Is this something that's going to go far? Should Elon actually get more punishment? And if so, what would it be? And let me remind you that this whole thing is not about the tweets. It's about him admitting that he did not clear it with the committee as he agreed. So that's just want to remind you, it's not about the tweets. All right, guys, I'm looking forward to your comments, and I will keep you up to date on this, of course. Just make sure to subscribe to this channel. Other than that, see you next time, and remember to stay charged.